Hey everybody, and welcome to the Keto 101 videos with Yogi. Make sure that you click like and subscribe down below so that you can get all the new videos. Give us feedback on the comments, and make sure you check the show notes for any kind of offers or links to products that we may mention in the show videos. Also, remember, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is simply guidelines of how to do a ketogenic diet in basic standards and how I would follow the ketogenic diet. All right, everybody, have a great day and enjoy the video. Hey, everybody. So this is another Keto 101 video with Yogi. Today we're going to talk a little bit about why you might choose to be on a ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet has been around for a very long time and has been used in the treatment of several lifestyle disorders that are created through indulgences, such as being obese because of eating too much sugar, too much sweets, too much fruit. It has been used for a long time before there was ever drugs to treat things like diabetes. And in the early part of the 18th and 19th centuries and on up, and I think even a little before that, it was used for neurological disorders such as epilepsy. They found that if they kept people on a low-carb diet and a higher fat diet, that people's seizures decreased or sometimes even went away, and allowed the brain to heal. And the reason for this is because the brain is composed mostly of fat. The brain is also an organ in the body that consumes a massive amount of energy. Your brain consumes more energy than any other part of your body. So the fat provided enough energy for the brain to function properly. It was a clean source of energy. Sugar actually creates byproducts in the system that can literally gum up your works, even your brain works, your neurons and things like that. It's a dirty fuel. So the fat burns much cleaner. There's less byproducts that are released when you burn fat for fuel. So it's a very clean burning fuel for your brain to run on. Now, keto is not a cure-all. If you go on keto, it doesn't mean you're not going to get the flu. You're not going to get the cold. That's just not how it works. What it is a lifestyle that works very well to treat certain conditions that occur because of a bad diet that is high in simple carbohydrates, low in your macro or your micronutrition. So that's what it is. Keto for fat loss, the reason why it works is your fat is actually your fat storage mechanism is driven by insulin, and insulin works like a key. When you have excess sugar in your bloodstream, let's say you just ate a big cake and you're not burning off that sugar right away, well, your body's going to store it for later because it's an easy thing to burn off and give you quick fuel. So your body kind of likes it and wants to store it for later. So it goes in and unlocks your fat cells and shoves that extra sugar in there. Well, if you keep doing that over and over and over, your fat cells are going to keep growing, and you're also going to get resistant to the insulin. Your fat cells are going to be like, that's enough. We're not going to take more. So your body's going to produce more insulin to make those fat cells absorb more of those simple sugars, and it's going to continue to grow. What happens with ketoacidosis or high blood sugar issues is eventually some people get to the point where the insulin isn't working to allow their body to store that excess sugar, and the excess sugar is actually in the bloodstream is very toxic. so it can't store it. So it causes damage in your body because there's that high level of sugar sitting in the bloodstream. So that's why the doctors prescribe insulin, because then they can, force those fat cells to open up and accept more of that sugar from the bloodstream into those fat cells, making those fat cells continue to grow. What keto does for fat loss is it lowers the insulin your body produces, so that you're not continuously shoving more and more fuel into an already overloaded fat cell. It also adapts your body to learn how to use that fat for fuel over the carbohydrates. So after your body burns off the stored carbohydrates in the fat cells, it'll start accessing the fats there. Now, the other thing insulin does too when you keep spiking it is it raises a hormone called ghrelin. And ghrelin is your hunger hormone. So you eat something really sugary, fruit or fruit juice, sodas, cake, whatever, dessert, ice cream. You eat something very sugary. And so what happens is the sugar in your bloodstream rises up. Well, then your insulin deals with it, shoves it in the fat cells. So it causes a drop in your insulin. And then your body suddenly goes, okay, well, we don't have that extra fuel anymore, so let's get some more. And it fires up ghrelin to make you hungry. So you want to eat more, and you eat more, and you eat more. And it raises your appetite level and gets to the point where you're overeating. And if you're overeating a lot of these simple carbohydrates, you're getting these empty calories in with basically no nutrition. So you're overfed, but you're malnourished. When insulin also skyrockets, it suppresses another hormone called leptin. Leptin is your I'm not hungry hormone. So when that is suppressed, your appetite is just going through the roof. So essentially, one of the things that you're doing with the ketogenic diet is you're using it to hormonally control your hunger. When you're not constantly spiking your insulin and your blood sugar levels, and things over time peter out to where it's you got a nice homeostasis, then you're not getting these high blood sugar spikes that are spiking the insulin, kicking up the ghrelin, activating your appetite. Instead, what you're doing is you're getting a mid-plane sugar amount, just of what you need. You're adapting your body to use fat as fuel, so it doesn't feel like it has to keep going back to those sugar stores and spiking the insulin. And you're also elevating your leptin levels to tell your system, hey, I'm good. I'm not that hungry. I don't need that much fuel. So when we look at the ratios of a formulated ketogenic diet, of the typical guidelines of a 70% fat, 20% protein, and 10% carbohydrate, what we're doing is we're upping the fat level so that we don't fire up the insulin. We use the fat for fuel. We adapt the body to want to use the fat for fuel. We are not keeping simple carbohydrates in, so our body is actually burning those simple carbohydrates out of our cells, shrinking the fat cells that way, as well as releasing a lot of water. And we're actually going to start suppressing ghrelin function and increasing leptin so that our appetite is more under control and we're eating a more moderate style food. And I could give you an anecdotal example of this is myself. When I used to eat a lot of high carb foods, a lot of Chinese foods, things like that that were high sugars, the American Chinese foods, when I used to eat a lot of ice cream and things like that, my appetite was through the roof. I have actually been kicked out of several all-you-can-eat places and had my photo put up on a board behind the cash register saying I wasn't allowed back in. And my weight was closing in on 600 pounds at one point in my life. I've always had this kind of ballooning up and down in my weight since I was a teenager. And so I would gain a lot of weight, and then drop a lot of weight, then gain a lot of weight, and drop a lot of weight. So at my heaviest, which was probably right out of high school, I was close to 600 pounds. My appetite was something that I was made fun of for a lot, and there was a lot of times I didn't eat because of the fact that I was embarrassed um, about how much I ate, and I didn't want to be made fun of. I didn't want people pointing things out at me. Um, but when I didn't eat, I would get hangry because those hormones, that ghrelin, man, it was driving that desire to eat and get that more sugar in, and keep that blood sugar up. And when your blood sugar goes down, your hormones go crazy, your emotions kind of go crazy, and you get that hangry thing. When I started keto for the first time in my life, I was able to be satisfied with what I ate and like hold off and go, yeah, I'm good, no more. And the amount of food that I consumed per day actually decreased because I was keeping the insulin levels at a normal level. I was allowing my leptin production to go up, and I was kind of evening things out so my ghrelin wasn't that high. And it took time, but I noticed that my desire for food and the amount of times I ate through the day gradually decreased to a normal level. And with that decrease also came a fat decrease in my body. And at the time when I started keto, I was about I want to say about 480, and now I'm down to about 330, and I'm still a work in progress. So that's what you're doing with keto, and that's why we have that 70-80-20 ratio. Okay, so next video what I'll do is I'll go a little bit more in depth on how to make your food fit those ratios, and we'll also start discussing testing a little bit. All right, everybody, have a great day.